Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream. I hope you're all doing great today. So we are going to turn up the triple Helix pen blanks that we cast last week. Those ones were really fun. I don't have a triple Helix 3D print, of course. Handy for anybody that wasn't here last week. Let's go get one real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Sounds all fancy. That's just the name that we came up with this thing. Triple Helix. It's like the double helix DNA thing, but 3 of them. That's one better than 2. So we cast some of these little triple helix guys. Pretty neat. And these are available on my website. Let me go grab a link to my 3D print things. If anybody wants to do that. Now, again, these are for if you have a 3D printer. I don't print them out and sell them. I only sell the print file. So if you have a 3D printer and you want to make some of these cool things, there's a link to that. So we are going to turn up the blanks we made. We did some pretty cool combinations last week. Great choices on colors. I don't have the blanks here because I had to send them out for the Pen Blank Club already. But you can see, this is one of them. We did a mix of like a teal, some of the macro sparkle stuff, some gold. That's my, what do I call it? The gold starlight, golden starlight, and then we put a little bit of bronze in there, I think, as well. Is that what we did? That was the, that was the ice cream flavor one. Let's see. Oh, I'm on the wrong page here. Let's see. Triple Helix. We did robin egg. Yeah, the bronze. The little antique bronze in there. So I'm going to make a cigar pen out of that one. This one, like realistically, doing 2 pens, I probably would have done 2 Sierras, 2 single blank type things. But this blank, you can't really just pick half of it. You got to do the whole thing. So we're going to go with an Element brass cigar kit. I think that'll be pretty cool. I went with white tubes just to let everybody know. So folks that are in the Pen Blank Club, the macro sparkle area and the golden starlight, I'm guessing are going to be there's going to be some see-through stuff. Like you'll probably see the tube once we get down in there. Now the question is, if this didn't have the macro sparkle, I would have just gone with brass. Because if the only area that you can see through is the golden starlight, then having brass behind that probably wouldn't be that bad. It wouldn't be that noticeable. However, having brass behind, if there's see-through stuff in the white, the brass is going to kill it. So I would much rather have white behind that, and I don't think the white is going to wreck the gold. It's not going to, kill it. The way to get around this is you could paint the inside of the blanks themselves instead of the tube. I don't love doing that. It's kind of a pain. So I'm lazy. So I didn't do that. So we'll see how this goes. I did load up, quite a bit of this stuff. So hopefully there won't be too much see-through. So that's that one. And I thought this brass, let's pull this guy out. The brass, I don't need these tubes. The brass elements are pretty cool. Now the only thing I don't like about brass elements is for some reason there's like a copper clip, which I just don't understand that. So realistically, I would replace this with a brass clip, steal it from some other, I don't have like a brass cigar kit, but I don't know why they did that. It's kind of weird to me. But anyway, we got brass. So that should be pretty cool. Almost doesn't even look like brass to me. So shiny. So it looks like like a normal gold kit almost. Now on the other one we got let's see, do I have the rest of this blank? I must somewhere. Let me go find the rest of it. We did the watermelon. Where's that blank? There it is. We did the watermelon Color Lab pigment. We did wine red from P-Town. Let's see, I don't know which way this goes. I think maybe like that. I think it kind of matches up around there, but anyway. So wine red, we did the watermelon. Now this kind of looks a little bit not awesome to me, to my eyes, with the watermelon and the wine, but I think once we turn it down and polish it, and then once the triple helix bands come out of this, I think it's gonna look really cool. That's why we're doing 2, because this one I was like, I'm not sure. I want to see what this looks like. And then we also added a peacock. What do they call this? It's some metallic pearl or metallic flake. I mean, they called it peacock metallic flake. It's kind of like a turquoise-ish. I don't know, peacock blue, green. So anyway, we're going to do a Sierra style. Now, what I'm going to do is try to get redemption. I took apart that aluminum. So I think like last time, I turned an element, and it was like below the, like it's like I turned it too thin. Like it was below the kit parts. And what I realized was my bushings were messed up. They're like a good couple 10,000ths off, which is gonna put that like that. So I wanted redemption. I have another set. Now I got a set of bushings on the way from TBC bushings, some brand new ones, just so that I have no questions. Because the other ones that I have are older also, so I just wanted to get a new set. But I don't have those yet, so we're gonna go with the older ones. They're definitely better. They were pretty close. So are my prints? They're resin prints. I got to be honest, I don't really like turning the FDM ones personally. I have the choice. If I didn't have the choice and I had an FDM printer, those work okay. I would probably recommend going with PETG filament if you're going to do that. Now, the one thing about my prints, I haven't even tested printing them on an FDM, like all of them on an FDM printer. I think the boxes are going to be absolutely fine. Where there could be some issues, there's a lot of overhangs and things going on where this is one area where resin printers kind of can get away with more. Sometimes if you've got your printer, if you're good at 3D printing, most of this stuff shouldn't be that big of a deal to get this printed. You may have to do supports and do some different stuff and orient them differently, but if you've got a resin printer, that's by far the best way to go. And what I found is the Elegoo ABS-like resin works really well. There's other ones out there I've tried not all of them or anything like that, but I've tried quite a few. Typically the ABS-like, what it is any resin that they claim that it's less brittle or it breaks less, that's probably going to be one that you want to use. But the ABS-like ones, they have more impact resistance. They're not as brittle. And I find that they turn and polish really well. So I have tried some other ABS-like ones. And it's kind of hit or miss sometimes. Some of them can be pretty good. Some of them aren't really. But I find that the adhesion between the resin and the 3D print itself is generally pretty good with the ABS-like from Elegoo. I'm trying to think of any Cubic Pro. Is that what it was? I think it was any Cubic. I think it was another 3D, ABS-like Pro. I believe was another one that worked pretty well. But they also have just like a regular ABS-like, and that was actually garbage. Like it didn't adhere to the 3D prints, and so it can be hit or miss. You may need to kind of try a few different things out. Another one, I think it's called the Rigid. I don't know. They got two of them. What is the brand? I think it's like a Chidu Systems, or I don't know. I think it's called Chidu. Is another brand that I tried, and I think they have like a Rigid and like a Tough or something. Like there's some weird names, and I want to say that one of those or both of them worked. I don't know. Like I got to be honest, guys. My recommendation is just grab the ABS-like from Elegoo and just go with that if you have a resin printer, because I know that it works the best that I've tried. Another way to go that can work well. I would say they're probably going to be more brittle, but the water washable one from Elegoo was pretty good. And the only reason that I actually am even going to mention that is their colors in that line are better. There's better colors in there. It's a very thin viscosity resin. It prints pretty well. I don't believe in their water washable system thing with that. I think that's kind of garbage. It just takes way longer to wash them if you're going to try to use water, and then you still don't get away from the fact that you're going to have to clean that. You can't just dump that water down the sink. It's toxic. So you're like literally dumping toxic chemicals down your sink. So you still have to dispose of it the same way as alcohol. And frankly, I just find alcohol cleans prints way faster and better. But it prints well, and their colors, especially like black in the water washable, is like black. Like it's not see-through at all. That's one of the problems that I have. I actually have to add dyes to my 3D prints, or to the resins. Otherwise they're not really, they're kind of see-through. And what I've found, again, this is going to take a lot of hit or miss trials and errors and stuff. Your Alumilite dyes, you can't add a lot. You got to watch out what you're doing, but the Alumilite transparent dyes work pretty well if you need to color them. So if I'm going for, well, you can see here, I've got red in here, and what I was doing was for my candy cane blanks that I print, as well as my pinstripes, I make a red. The problem is, if you just buy red 3D print resin, and I know that I'm kind of tangenting here, but for anybody that is interested, I think this is pretty valuable information. If you just buy the red, it's totally transparent, and the problem is in pen blanks, by the time you turn it down, unless you paint the inside of the blank red, it's just going to disappear. Like you won't see the red. And I was doing that with my Philadelphia Phillies pinstripe blanks. And by the time, when you turned it down, there was just white and then like whatever, is underneath it. It was terrible. So I have to color. And what I do is I get white resin. I get the white resin and then I add color to it. Now the problem is you can't get it super red. I mean, this is like kind of a Pepto-y, almost pink red. And it's because you can't add that much dye to this stuff or else it won't print. So I really wish the resin 3D printing technology was better. That's why I kind of recommend to most people, you're probably not better off doing it with resin because it's messy, it's difficult sometimes, and it can just be like literally a pain in the butt. But having said that, it definitely turns, where the heck did my lid go? I don't know, I'll figure it out later. It definitely turns and casts and all that stuff better, and generally it's easier to print as long as you get you don't add a bunch of stuff to it and you get the stuff down. Anyway, so that's what we're doing here. So let me go back up here. And there was another question here. So hopefully that answers and probably does more to your questions, Jennifer. So David was asking, does CA glue have any issues on painted tubes when you glue them? CA glue. It can. If you're going to paint tubes, typically it doesn't. But if you're going to paint tubes or paint the inside of the blank, you need to let it fully cure, like a full day. If you can, let it sit there for a week, just to make sure everything's good to go on it. But what I find, I just use spray paint, and typically that stuff dries pretty quick. I think most of them are like a lacquer type based stuff. They dry quick. They work well. The other thing about spray paint is you can get ones that you can spray plastic with. That is one of the reasons why I like spray paint for doing the insides of tubes, because some of the other paints most things don't really particularly stick to plastics very well. But spray paint that's specifically says for plastics is going to work better than other ones. It's not excellent, but it should do better. But the big thing is you got to let it fully cure. When I do the insides of blanks, what I actually do is I'll grab my spray paint and I spray it into a cup, actually, like a good amount of it, and then I use a Q-tip or you could use a paintbrush or something like a little fine artist brush, and I just like paint it in there. That's one way. Or you can just literally just spray the heck out of the inside of the blank, and that works. The issue is doing it that way, you may get a lot on there, which is going to screw up your tube size, like the hole size, if there's a bunch. And that's the other issue with a lot of the other paints. Some people use acrylic paint, but that stuff's really thick. You're probably going to have to actually drill out a bigger hole if you use that stuff. You got to get these things layered thin. And I would probably go for 2 coats. But that's another, spray paint is super thin stuff, so it works pretty well. So Chris, what's up? I'm doing pretty good, man. Let's see here. Get him on the tab. I'm not going to FDM print any of these things. They just don't turn that well. I've tried it. I've tried like the honeycombs and things like that, like simpler prints, and they're fine. If all I had was an FDM printer, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I've seen the difference, you know, like right next to each other, and the resin prints are just, they're almost like turning Alumilite, where you can definitely tell PETG. And I definitely don't recommend trying to use PLA. That stuff is terrible. It melts early. So like when you're drilling it, it's all stringy, and realistically, even with PETG, that's kind of the same thing. You really have to avoid heat with these things. They don't stick to the resin as well. None of them do. So you have to be pretty careful. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I love FDM printing for like everything else. And that's the tough thing about this, is I don't really recommend, like if you're just going to print out a few things for for pens, I don't recommend most people get into resin printing. It's a pain. If it's something that you wanted to get into, like you were serious, you're going to make lots of pen blanks and do all this stuff with it, then I would say, okay, try it out. But I think for the average person, FDM printing is just so much easier and simpler overall, and more useful across the board. I don't think resin printing is particularly useful for a whole lot of other things, unless you're going to print miniatures or very specific stuff that it's good at, you know. So anyway. All right, so let's go and turn before I start talking about something else. Jeez. This guy. Oh, I have a couple other announcements. Sheesh. Hold on, guys. See, you get me talking about resin printing. So one thing real quick, the Rockies blanks are out. They're on my website, and I'm really digging this blank, guys. It's pretty sweet. So they're for the launch. This is what I do for brand new designs. All right, so I'm coming out with like different, you know, like the round versions of a lot of the blanks, but if it's something that I've already had in stock, I'm not going to do like a big discount sale on it. It's just, I'm updating the way that I do it more. But for these new designs, I never had this specific combination in my store, so it's a brand new one. So we're doing 15% off. This is good until Tuesday. And here's a link. If this link will automatically apply the discount, but if for some reason it doesn't do that, you just type in the word Rockies. So I'm just gonna, this is the discount code, just in case. Make sure that you get the 15% off applied. Huh, that's weird. The other thing that I wanted to share a link to is these element kits. You get them at Turner's Warehouse. The cool thing about them, the element series, you can patina them. Like we're talking, this isn't brass plating, this is solid brass. All right, so you can patina all these little parts, and it's really cool. These are a Turner's Warehouse, you know, only, that's the only place you can get them. So it's pretty cool. They got the brass, copper, which those two are excellent for patina if you want to do that. And there's ways that you can patina these things. The other things that they the other things that they have are aluminum. And the cool thing about the aluminum kits, that's what this is, they're so light. Like if you're looking for a very light pen, get the aluminum kit. It's like I'm not even holding anything. The other thing about the aluminum, and I don't know, I haven't talked to, it's not like I've heard this from Chad or anything, I haven't asked, but I'm guessing if you wanted to, you could electroplate or whatever they call that and color these if you were somebody that did that stuff. I think there's a little bit of a, it's not like super simple, like you're just like, oh, let me go get the $10 kit and it'll happen, but I think you could probably do that with these. The other one that they have is a steel, solid steel, and so on the opposite end, if you want something super heavy, the steel kit is awesome, and it's like bulletproof. I mean, you could literally just throw this off the Empire State Building and it'd be fine. So very similar, a little bit different. It's like a brushed steel kind of look, but very heavy. So if you like heavy pens, the steel is pretty awesome. So let's see, we got that one, put this one away. Those are my 2 links and all the stuff that's going on. Barb's here, what's up? Let's see here, just want to make sure I got everything. Okay, let's go turn something. Get my blanks here. Oh, actually guys, I have one more little thing to share that it's sitting right here, I just forgot. That's the wrong camera. Let's do this one. So we didn't make enough of these 2 blanks on the stream, and so I decided to make a third blank with some unique colors. So I wanted to add some of that penny copper. We put a lot of the the gold and the macro sparkle in there, and we did I don't know, they were all kind of glittery, right? So I was like, oh, let's put some of the copper, and then I went with the macaw blue green. I love that color. That's one of my favorites. And this is a unique mix. I'm not even going to tell you the mixture there, but we got a little bit of other blue going on in there, and there might have been one other color. Let's see, copper, 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's just 3. I don't know, 3, maybe 4 colors in there. I'm not turning one of those up. I think these are going to be pretty cool, though. I like the mixture there. What did I do here? Yeah, so 3 colors. But it should be a pretty neat other blank. So if you're a Pen Blank Club subscriber, then you'll get one of these 3. It'll be kind of a, what do I get? What am I getting kind of thing. Kind of a fun thing, I think. So there we go. Now let's go turn. I'll be quiet. I'm going to do the Sierra first. Just knock that out, get it out of the way. I'm very curious to see how this blank turns out. Are we on the right camera? We are. I'll put my dead center in there. Get the tailstock ready. And just a little update on like the resin situation thing. I definitely think there is a problem. Now, I didn't get like night and day different results when I got the new one. In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. However, I've got more resin on its way, and I'm going to do some more stuff. Now, here's what I think, guys. I'm going to go back to my soapbox and just knock this out real quick. I just want to let everybody know, because I kind of made a big deal out of this stuff, and I was like having an issue. But I mean, it has been an issue because I haven't been able to get blanks made, because I'm like, I got to turn one out of every batch just to make sure nothing went wrong. Pretty much all the blanks that I made with the new resin turned out good. Okay, so there was a difference. In some cases, things weren't exactly, there was a couple things that I noticed that I thought was an issue with the old resin that seemed tainted in some way. It was kind of acting the same way, but the overall results were better with the new resin, which tells me that I think I have a problem with that clear slow that I was using. Here's what I think happened. I think it got some sort of a moisture contamination. I don't know how, but that seems to be the most logical issue, or like explanation to what's going on. It cures fine. We've used it, I've turned it, I've done lots of stuff with it. It's fine, but it just isn't giving me the typical working conditions. That's what the problem is. I'm having things kind of not settle. Like it's not. It's like it's almost like fizzing, which that's what water, humidity, moisture and stuff with urethanes, it can cause it to kind of fizz up a little bit. It's not overly bad or anything like that, but there's something wrong, something's off. So I've got more resin. I also contacted Alumilite. I'm going to be talking to their technical people, and maybe they have an answer. They've seen like this type of thing, but it's hard for me. I can't just say, oh, it's not curing, or oh, they're blowing up in my face. There's nothing like very concrete. It's just like weird things that I'm like, this is just off. So I just wanted to let you guys know. I don't think that there's a problem with Alumilite resin or anything. I want to make sure everybody knows that. I'm pretty sure that something is up with my resin that's clear slow, and it's probably something that I did or something caused by something in my shop somehow. I don't know. Maybe I left the cap off, like the little things off of one of the jugs or something. I don't know. So just wanted to kind of let you guys know what was going on with that situation. But I do think that fresh resin seems to be working better. The other thing that I had was I have some of that regular set version, and I don't have the same issues with that even. And that was way older than I had that previous to the slow. So anyway, just a couple little notes about things that are going on. Like I said, if I'm going to mention that I have like an issue, I want to make sure that you guys, nobody freaks out or you understand like, what do I think it is? And like I said, again, I don't think that you need to worry about something weird going on. It's something that's local to my shop somehow, really local to that resin. Something got contaminated somehow, and I don't even think it was contaminated when I got it. That's why it was working fine for a while. Now the other thing is, like I said, I've been having some other things that I'm like, well, I'm not sure. I think the other problem is it's just for some reason the temperatures right now are just not allowing me to do what I want to do. I really think things are going to settle down once the temperatures drop, and it has gone down. It's not getting as hot in the shop anymore, but it's not, the difference is it's also not dropping below like 70, I don't know, something. The other thing that I tried to do is just leave a fan on in my part of the shop to see if that might help out. But for the most part, guys, I really think that you're going to get the best results if you can be somewhere near room temperature in your shop. I think that the resin, you're going to have the best amount of working time. It's going to just be the best. Warm temperatures, even if you chill the resin, it's not a perfect answer to everything. Okay, let's turn this guy. Can you guys see what's going on? Are we in here? Let's make sure that you got a good view. Get a little bit closer, and we'll turn. Tighten up that tailstock. We're getting down in there. I think we're pretty close to being able to stop it. We got a long ways to go to get it done, but we're definitely into the blank, and we should be able to see the helixes and everything. Get a pretty good idea of what this blank's going to look like, because I think it's going to look a lot better turned compared to, oh yeah, look at that. We do have some division line here. So when you pour it down in there, it does kind of, stack, let's say. And it's interesting because the glitter is just kind of adding like little accents. It's tough because you don't know what the blank's going to actually look like on the inside just based on whatever it looks on the outside. So I'm guessing that we probably have a little bit more of that glitter in the other side of the blank, possibly. Glitter may diffuse a little bit around, you know. We'll have to see what the other one looks like, but you can kind of see once you get to the inside of this thing, there's probably more of that glitter, you know, in this area, even though it looks like there's pink. We might have more of the glitter, but we kind of did back and forth pouring. Man, that's looking pretty cool already. And I love the triple helix. Now, one thing, I'm using a standard cutter. And I might actually switch to the negative, but your negative rate cutters are going to probably work a little bit better, give you a little bit better, smoother turn. And when we get done, when I finish both of them, somebody remind me to cover, there's a couple things I wanted to mention. Even though I say that the resin 3D prints, you know, adhere better, I find, and turn better and all this stuff, they're still a mixed material blank. And I recently just had a customer that bought a bunch of pinstripe blanks and blew them all up, and I'm like, dang, okay, we need to talk about how you're doing things, because there are ways that you can, realistically, that you can damage the bond, or, you know, weaken the bond if you do things wrong. So I want to kind of cover a couple tips on how to get the best results. And this, it doesn't matter if you're buying my blanks or, you know, resin 3D print. This definitely applies to the FDM print, you know, your regular like filament printers. But it also applies to really any mixed material blank that you're going to turn. And it starts even before you get it on the lathe. There are certain things that you really need to do to ensure that you're not going to have problems once you get it onto the lathe. And I think it's best to just kind of, I got a couple links to videos that basically cover all the tips. And these are just tips. This isn't something that I developed or came up with for 3D print blanks specifically. This is just some things that I've kind of started doing. I just have been doing for a long time on all of my mixed material blanks. You know, because especially earlier on, I mean, a big part of the channel was doing Dunkin' junk. We were sticking materials that ought not to be in resin. And I would get through, like, I really didn't have catastrophic failures with, like, any of them. So I had to start thinking, like, okay, what's going on here? Why is that the case? And there are a few things that I do that I think helped me get through a lot of those materials unharmed, unscathed. I think, you know, just a couple things while I'm turning this that I can share. Now, like I said, I really want to, there's a couple things that I think are extremely important that you do, again, in preparation. But a couple quick things, and some of these are just going to be flat obvious, like this is what you need to do for turning in general. But, you know, sharp tools, number one. Again, the negative rate cutters really reduce blowout risks when you're dealing with like resins and difficult materials. So that's just kind of a simple, you know, replace the cutter you have and you're going to get better results. or less mess ups, you know, less complications, let's say. You want to be turning these at relatively high speeds. Like for the most part, pen blanks in general, I mean, there's really no reason not to be just turning it. Turn your lathe as fast as it can go. Higher speeds are going to help. And also, you know, taking lighter cuts in difficult materials is what I recommend. You're just not putting as much stress on the materials. If you take a giant cut, there's a lot of probably like friction and all kinds of, you know, forces acting upon those materials, and they're not one solid material. There's a bunch of them in here. That can shatter something. It can rip those bonds apart if there's too much force being applied. Another thing is also not doing fast motions with your tool. You know, take kind of slower cuts. It's kind of like the feed rate thing. Slower cut, faster revolutions is going to put less stress and generally give you a nicer, smoother finish too on your material. And then as you start getting down, that's where you want to start dialing back how much, you know, take even lighter cuts. The other thing about taking large cuts is it's going to increase friction, and heat is the bane of that bond between the 3D printed stuff and the resin. So wherever you can reduce heat, you're going to want to. All right, we're getting pretty close here. All right, I think I'm going to call that good. Again, these bushings may also be a little bit on the thin side. I don't want to go too far. Hopefully I didn't go too far on these. Hoping Brian gets those new bushings out to me soon. They probably are on the way. I'm not sure yet though. Let's see here. Coat the cut ends. Yeah, that's a good way to go. While you're turning, I mean, again, this is once you get it on the lathe. I think if you think you're going to have problems dousing the blank with this super fast thin, this stuff is so thin that it's gonna, with capillary action, it'll suck into any little crevice. So if there's any little gaps or chips or anything between the bond, this stuff will fill it. And so just continually applying this stuff will help keep you from things coming apart in general. And that also is kind of part of the, I guess, while we're kind of in the middle, since we're kind of talking about it. So I think that the most important thing, there's two things. When you're drilling these blanks, that is where the problem happens, guys. I think that if you don't do that step properly, you are going to have issues. So And again, like I said, heat is the biggest problem with these things. So if you've got a dull drill bit, or you're just, like you're not taking very short, and I'm not joking, guys, like 1/4 inch, go in 1/4 inch, pull it out and clear the chips, let it cool down, 1/4 inch. If you're just drilling in and heat's building up on that thing, if it gets too hot, it's straight just going to rip the bond. It's just going to delaminate where the resin meets that 3D print thing. And you probably won't see it. It's not going to be apparent at the time. It's not like it's going to blow up on the drill press, but that bond is going to be pretty much gone. And then you get it on the lathe and it just blows up in your face. So drilling is the most important. Always use, and I think that, like I said, there's so many different things. Not clearing the chips enough, and like dull drill bits, like everybody's, you know that you've used a dull drill bit and you're like, oh, I should get this thing sharpened or get a new one, but you just do it anyway. And that causes so much friction heat buildup in pen blanks that, anything that's not a good bond like that will fall apart kind of. Now the other thing is, when you're gluing tubes together, what I do is I use a 2-part method, and this only applies to like resin blanks. Definitely don't do this with wood blanks, okay? This is not a wood blank thing. This is mixed materials, and I do the same thing just for straight resin. First thing I do is I have one of those little tube holder deals. And I got a video that shows you exactly how I do this, and I actually show you what I'm doing. But I got one of those things that holds the tube. Put the tube on there. I put this thick, gap-filling thick on the tube, and I literally paint it all over it, make sure every square inch of that tube is covered in glue. Set it aside. The beauty of the thick stuff, 2 things. It is gap-filling a little bit. It's not going to fill every gap, but it's somewhat gap-filling. And it has a longer working time, so I can paint that onto the tube, set that aside in my little cup thing, and then what I do is I grab the blank itself and I douse the heck out of the inside with this thin. And what that's doing is, again, if there are any imperfections in the bond, this stuff is going to fill it before you even started doing anything. Now, again, this is going to be after drilling, so you got to watch out for the drilling part. But if you did heat it up a little bit or there was a problem, this may save you by doing this, filling any problems on the inside first. And so you'll kind of want to move a little quick. This stuff sets up pretty fast. I just douse it in there, pretty good. And I like these longer tips to get in there. I get these tips at where do I get these tips? I can't think of the name of the place. I get them at Woodturner's Wonders. They work great with these bottles. They just pop right on. They're more rigid and they're longer. But anything will do. Even Starbond has little tip things that can help. So just douse, and you're going to waste it just dripping out the bottom, and that's fine. But I need to get this stuff inside the blank in any problem areas first. And I think that is the thing that has gotten me through. Like I said, again, the heat problem, keep the drilling under control, and then do that CA glue, dousing the inside and then painting with the gap filling. Because if you have any areas where if you have a problem with the glue bond on your tube, your blank, I don't care what kind of blank it is, it's going to explode. Because especially with these plastic blanks, if there's a big area where there's no glue holding the blank on, you've got speeds going and you've got a cutting tool going in, and if it kind of grabs, like this stuff can bend the blank material, and what ends up happening is when you get it way down to the small, it's very thin. It always happens at the end, right guys? You get the blowout at the end, and that's because this thing can kind of warp. The tool digs in and it just blows up. So you really want to get a good glue bond. And I've found that the CA glue method, you could use, if you're having perfect results with epoxy, that's fine. But you're not getting the advantage of that thin CA. And maybe you could do that, just douse the thing, with thin CA first, let it dry, and then do the epoxy if you're adamant about doing epoxy on these things, but I really think that CA glue, it works. I never have an issue with it. So I would recommend that on mixed material blanks. Again, not wood. Stabilized wood is not as bad, but the problem with real wood and CA glue is there's moisture in wood, and moisture makes CA glue kick. It's going to set off right when you touch it, and you're going to get half the tube in and it's going to stop. So CA glue and wood blanks, not a good idea. That's where the epoxy really is what you want. But for plastic stuff, and even stabilized wood even kind of falls into this category. It's typically not going to hold on to a bunch of moisture. I'd still move pretty quick if I'm using that super fast thin CA with stabilized wood even, but it should be okay. Okay, so I got some fresh sandpapers. Let's see if there's any questions here. I really like that idea with sealing the ends. That's especially important if you're doing label blanks too. You really want to seal those ends on those things. Because if water gets underneath there, it's going to be Turn to pink blank. Not happy with it. Oh, that's no fun. It's no fun when you're not happy with the thing. Hopefully the next one will be perfect. Yeah, so this watermelon and the wine red, it's kind of an interesting mixture. In this case, I actually kind of wish it was more like bleedy, like, instead of stacked. Like I could easily see pouring that at a much lower temperature and try and get it to kind of mix together, or even just like dump them together and see what happens. Do like a dirty pour of those two colors. That might be kind of interesting. Okay, so honestly, that's probably pretty good. I'm just going to do a little bit of this. I'm going to dry this off and just look. That really didn't seem like that long of a sanding job, but it feels smooth, so I don't know. If you're ever in doubt, it's best to just dry off. If you're using water, dry it off fully, let it fully dry, and then kind of give it a look and see if there's any major areas that you got tool marks or something funky going on, little divots. The biggest problem is sometimes it looks smooth and everything, but you got kind of like a divot. It's not even just like a tool mark. I got to turn the light up a little bit further. Looking at the surface, that thing's looking pretty good, actually. Another thing you can do is also do like a CA finish on this. Sometimes the surface of that 3D print, especially, and I think this really applies when you're using the FDM stuff, it can be a little bit chippy, but even the resin sometimes. You can have little areas along the edge where it just kind of chipped, or something's kind of a little bit funky. You might have a little pinhole. So putting a CA finish on these things is not the worst idea, and it'll seal everything up and everything's going to be good. But if there are any areas where that resin meets the 3D print, the CA finish will fill any little gaps. I don't see any on this. This would be the time if you. Typically, I don't really recommend people get magnifying glasses out and get all crazy with their blanks, unless you're just trying to kind of understand how much you need to do. But if you're looking for that kind of stuff, I don't know if you can see it. I have these guys. There's all kinds of different ones, but these are magnifying lenses, like a 10 times or something like that. This is a time where if you're like, am I done sanding? Is there, should I put a CA finish on? Are there little gaps in here or something? That's looking pretty good. But this would be a time where okay, pull out your thing and take a look, see what it's looking like. But that looks good. There's no, I don't see any problems along there. Okay, so let's move on to the green. Oh, I got 2 pieces. I only need 1 piece. Oh, I lost my eye protection too. All right, Emil, have a good one. Thanks for joining the fun. Okay, so go with some of this green. I've been digging this new method, doing a little bit on top, doing the wrap it around thing. One thing that I thought of, I was thinking like that it would actually be like 3 points of contact. It's actually, I think, part of the reason this works so well, and this may be the same, is you're like wrapping it more. So like it's not just like 3 points of contact, it's like wrapping around and sanding with like the entire surface, kind of, you know, like you're getting a lot more, especially if you can kind of get the paper kind of wrapped up onto it. Let me turn this down a little bit. Works better with the camera. But I think that's the reason why I've been seeing what I feel like is a little bit better sanding, polishing job on these things. They look better by the time I get to the gray. Oh, and I got another little thing that we're going to try out today that I think you guys might actually be interested in. We'll see how it works. You know, like the saga of the Magic Juice polish applicator has gone on. I'm like, I just don't feel like white paper towels seem really abrasive. So when you start getting into those really high, you know, fine grits of the final stages of your polish, I'm like, yeah, but is the paper towel just scratching it? And I found something that I think might work. Now, microfiber towels definitely work, but they're a little bit on the dangerous side. You gotta watch out, you know, because they're not gonna rip, and you're really best off cutting them into small pieces, and I think you'll be safe. But I actually found something that might work a little bit even better. We'll see. I haven't tried them yet. Found them on Amazon. Okay. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Now the one thing is, I do think that paper towel is probably less abrasive than the gray. I don't know. Seems like it is. So I don't mind wiping off with that after the gray. I don't know. That still may not be a good idea. I like to try and, the only reason I care, I get good results. I'm not that worried about it, but I also, sometimes, you know, you're like, oh, I thought I did a good job, and there's like random scratches. So I'm like, okay, where did those come from, right? So if I could figure out if it's maybe like the paper towel causing the thing, or, you know, the way that I'm doing it, if you can figure out a system to where that's not going to happen, or at least it reduces it significantly, then why not? All right, so I've found these things. They are microfiber cleaning cloths. Rocks or J-Socks, whatever. But look at these guys. They're like little paper towel things. They're disposable. Now, the thing is, they're not, if this gets wrapped up, this ain't ripping, you know? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it twice. And if this gets wrapped up, I'm just really not that worried. I think this is better than like a thick microfiber, but it's a no scratch thing. And I don't know, it just seemed like a good idea. I've been looking for something like this for a long time. And this is the best. And it comes in, like I said, it's just this little, it's a little single pack thing. You just pull, the only thing that I don't like is it's kind of hard to get these out, but it's like tissues almost is how it feels. But you get one little square, and it came with 2 boxes of these things. I think there's 50 per box. But yeah, I got there's another box in this thing. I think there's 100 in here total. They're not super cheap. I mean, like, you know, if these have like a one-time use, it's going to be a little bit on the more expensive side. But I don't know. Let's give it a shot. So we'll do our number 1. Let's just see how they work first. Suede applicators. That's cool. Ceramic coating. Hey, Brian's here. You're just in time to see the experiment. So again, I really want to watch out here. Try to watch out. Anyway, I like the application. Still think this might be a little bit on the risky side. It's kind of big still. You can maybe just cut these things in half or something. That looked pretty good. Cutting these in half is going to be difficult. You'd have to have decent scissors, I will say. Luckily I have decent scissors, so I'm going to try a half of one of these things. That'll also double the life, you know, how many I have. Let's say instead of 100, I'll have 200. All right, so I've cut that in half. Let's go on to step 2. I think I'm gonna do a quarter fold. I'd rather have this thing be as small as possible. I think we'll try that. That way if it does get caught up, especially this number 2, everybody knows number 2 is catchy. I did decide I added a little bit of water to my number 2. That definitely made it a little bit easier to use. So let's see how this goes. I can only get one finger on this, but that seemed to work okay. Okay. Yeah, not too bad. I think these work. I mean, I would say these things work as good, if not better, than the microfiber that I've tried, and I still like the blue paper towels. Like those were the greatest because I don't have to worry. I'm a little concerned about wrap up. I don't really think I'm going to get hurt, but I'd also really not like to get hurt. Something stupid like this, you know, but yeah. But if I can get rid of, but I am worried, I still think those blue paper towels, they're going to scratch. They have the potential to leave a little bit of abrasion. And I definitely don't like the idea of using those for the final final pass, let's say. This thing is definitely shiny. There's no question about that. Okay, so we're done with what, I think that was 3, 2, 3. I'm gonna cut another one in half. Maybe do quarters, I guess, but I don't know. Let me try quarters. No, it's not exactly even, but I don't know if that's better or worse. Let's try very small pieces. Well, that one wasn't really half. All right, let's go to number 4. Yeah, the gun cleaning patches I've heard of. I don't know how much those cost. I'm also not certain. What are those made out of? Aren't they like kind of paper towelish material? It's been a long time since I cleaned a gun. I can't remember what they look like. I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember. All right, this one's a little bit more reasonably sized. Let's try just using the single. The one thing, if you don't fold it over, it may kind of go through the thing. Oh, I need to add some water to this 5. It's thick. I feel like this one, I don't know, wants to grab. Doesn't seem to be pushing through too much. That's kind of surprising. All right, so number 6. And when I added water to these, you really don't want to go too crazy with it. I just grabbed one of those little, like a pipette type thing, and just put a few drops and then shook it and kind of saw how I felt about it. I would say that definitely needs a refresher. Stuff is pretty thick. Specialty PLA. Huh. Cool. Yeah, I definitely don't think that the regular PLA is a good way to go. I don't know. Is specialty, do you consider that worse? Would you say that's actually harder to deal with than regular PLA? For this purpose? All right, I have got a microfiber that I'm going to use to just wipe it off at the end. That thing was kind of starting to seep through, So I just want to use something that has nothing on it. But man, I'll tell you what, guys, that thing is glossy. I mean, I'm going to turn the light down even further, I think. Let's see, is it picking up the... Here we go. Focus on the right thing. Let's get this thing out of the way. That's looking pretty good. Pretty glossy. See how that wine red's pretty good. It's kind of more of a like a burgundy. If you're going for like red, wine red is not the greatest, you know, to get like a red. But it is a pretty decent, it's got like a little bit of kind of a burgundy-ish color. A little off red, you know. It's not like that bright red. Adding the Alumilite red dye to this, though, really kind of brings it closer to like a true red. That thing's looking pretty good. But see, I love the triple helixes, though. I mean, honestly, you could dump one color in this thing and it would look fantastic with those stripes. And there's also a lot of vintage pens that have that. It's like a, you know, one of those ebonite kind of materials, but I think anyway, that have these kind of stripes. So it's kind of, I think these things would be somewhat sought after by a lot of pen people. You can do a lot with it. And so depending on which color you print the 3D prints in, you know, it can go a lot of different ways. So let's set this one aside. This one's looking pretty darn good, though. Pretty happy with that. Hopefully the bushings are correct. And I didn't go too overdo it. I'm 0 for 3 on the Sierra variant of the Element kits so far. Because my bushings were the wrong size. They were worn down. All right, so let's put this away. That there. Okay. So the other one, this was the one that I was really excited about in the beginning. Let's see, where's the blanks? Let me put these bushings back so I don't lose them first of all. And, you know, this is very similar to that kind of Tiffany blue and gold. I mean, it's got pretty much the same components with a little bit of white in there. I don't remember if we did any white in those. I don't think so. It was just the gold and the Starlight Gold and the chicken egg blue. I love that. Chicken egg blue. All right, so let's get this guy set up here. Can't see. Let me get the camera out of the way so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, lathe buddy going strong. Love that lathe buddy. I like the new one. It's much cleaner. I really like the back padding on the new ones. That, or the, you know, whatever the rubber thing, the thing that blocks the water from getting on your lathe. Being a little bit stickier, it really does stay in place better. Let's get this thing kind of going. There we go. Ah, thanks, Vinny. Yeah, good color choices. You guys picked some good colors on these things. Okay, so we'll put the magic juices out of the way. We'll turn a cigar style pen. Looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Get rid of my gloves too, I don't need them. All right, let's do this. So this is the front, like the grip section, let's say, the bottom part where the ink comes out, nib side, let's say, I guess. Ink side. I'm going to stop and take a look. Let's see here. Question on kitless pens. Are all ink cartridges standardized to fit any ink nib? I'm pretty sure. Not 100% sure, I guess, but nice. We got a little bit of gold in there. That was one thing. So, and I cut this blank a little bit. I didn't just cut it like in the middle. I kind of moved around and took resin kind of from both ends because I was trying to get, we had the like the robin egg, we had the white, gold, but then we also had bronze, and I layered them on top of each other. So for me to get any bronze in this blank or pen, I had to take the bronze side, and there wasn't that much bronze anyway, it looked like. So this is like one end of the blank, and this is maybe not the exact end, but I kind of took from both sides, and I was trying to get a little bit of gold in on this end, and so I got just a little tiny bit. I probably could have gone a little bit closer up. But again, it's very difficult to tell, what, based on the outside of the blank, like how much gold is really on the inside. So you might have to kind of press your luck a little bit trying to get things to be perfect, let's say. All right, we're getting close here. really digging the shaping I'm doing here. Trying to kind of take my time and really get it exactly how I want it. I think this is going to be a pretty cool looking pen. All right, I'm going to stop it and see. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's looking nice. A little bit of a bulge on this end. I'm gonna try and keep it sort of flat here. All right, enough messing around with it. Let's just sand it up. Now it is interesting. So again, I kind of did, wow, that's kind of cool. Huh. It's crazy how that wraps around. So I poured, I want to say that I'm almost 100% certain that I poured the chicken egg blue first, and I think it looks like a lot of it actually kind of hit one, one, I don't even know what you call it, helix thing, because it wraps around, like it went in one area, and then the white went in the other one, which is kind of crazy. It's like a barber's pole or something, you know? So that's kind of not what I expected. That's kind of cool. All right, so we'll get our mat down. Our little sandpaper's ready. I like to wear gloves just because the water kind of ends up messing. Oh, rip that one. Messes up my hands. All right, let's do some sanding. All right, that's looking, feels pretty good. We're gonna do a little side to side action here. I think we're good to go on that. So we'll move up to the green paper. I'm gonna dry it off and just take a peek, make sure there's nothing funky going on here. I'm gonna turn the light up just a little bit. Yeah, that's gonna look good, I think. Okay, turn the light down. Move up to our green. Hey, Kim, how's it going? What are you up to tonight, Kim? Family time, well, that's good. Very cool. Family time, now turning time. And we'll go with the gray. And you know, you could go to the blue if you wanted. Obviously, I don't think it's necessary. I think the step between gray and the magic juice, step 1, is fine. Obviously, like you saw the last one, it's looking good. But you could go up to the blue. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll definitely, you know, take out just some slightly finer scratches, or you know, the grays. Get you up to a slightly finer scratch, and then, you know, ramp down. But I really don't think that if you're going to do the magic juice, I really wouldn't go much higher than that, than the blue Zona paper. It's just kind of diminishing returns. It's like polishing it perfect and then sanding it back down again with step 1, the magic juice. Oops. As long as you've gotten all the, you know, previous good scratches out, if you get to the gray, you know, whatever grit size scratches on the blank, then the 1 is going to take out those effectively. Going up to number 3, like I said, it's not, I don't think it's necessary, but what that can do is just kind of help guarantee, you know, that you're up to a point where the step 1 magic juice will take out all the, you know, polishing paper scratches. It's just like a little insurance policy, let's say. And I think you got diminishing returns beyond that. Okay. Let's get some magic juice going here. Wipe my hand off first. And I think I am going to add a little bit of that water to the step 5 because it was a little bit thick. So I'll show you how I do that. And you want to use, if you've got, what am I trying to say? If you've got distilled water or access to be able to, you know, there's those little distilled water making machine things. If you got that, that's what I would go with. Otherwise, you're going to want to use like a filtered water. You don't really want to just pull out just tap water, because your tap water may have some minerals and junk in it that, you know, especially depending on which step you're putting it in, you may contaminate it kind of, or add grit to it that is coarser than. So I just got this little pipette thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just doing it by like drops. And I'll give that a shake. Seemed pretty good. I'm going to do 5 more. We did 10 drops. You really want to sneak up on this. You don't, if you put too much in, it's going to be just water, you know, very runny. I don't know. Let's see how that goes. I can always add some more if I feel like it needs more. So I use bottled water that I just don't have distilled in the shop. But I I would rather use distilled water because that stuff has nothing in it. It's always best to use the thing that has nothing in it, but you know, don't have it. Oh, asthma. Ugh. Well, you just relax, let your breathing get under normal, and enjoy the turning. I had really bad asthma when I was a kid. Almost died a few times. Especially the time when we found out that I'm allergic to hay and I'm rolling around in it. That was a fun one. That was in the 80s, you know. Should we take him to the hospital? Nah. Rub some dirt on him. He'll be fine. You know how much of a pain that is. And I played sports too, and that's not always the best combination. Still have an inhaler. Luckily I don't have to use it daily, but still there sometimes. But luckily it's well under wraps at this point for me. Except for like when I get sick, that's when my asthma kind of comes out. Allergies cause it to flare up. I think I liked the 2 pieces of this pad, you know, applicator thing. I don't know. Anybody have any ideas on which, if you're going to use something that's folded over like this on the lathe and it's not a rippable material, do you think it makes any difference which way if you've got the bend is what you use to apply, if it wrapped up? I'm trying to think like what, I think that might be the way to go, because then it'll flap. I don't know if it matters really. If you're holding it this way, it would kind of grab and still kind of flap. I don't know. I don't think it makes any difference. Maybe sideways, actually. Maybe sideways. I'm not that worried about it. I'm just, you know, if we're going to do this, I'd rather we think about it, and if there's a safer way to do it, choose that one. Three inhalers, ugh. The reason I like the 2 pieces is I feel like I can just fold this over again, and I'm not going to squeeze, you know, the stuff that I was using so much. Even if it kind of squished through the pad, I feel like there's less risk of that. Kind of like that sideways idea. Okay, so number 3. It's looking pretty glossy already. That macro sparkle is looking good. I love that one. That was kind of like a, before I had used it, I was like, oh, like the first, I don't know, I guess the way to say it is the first time I used it, I was like, whoa, this is like my new favorite thing. It's very impressive. And you can add the, you know, dyes to it. Probably go with the Alumilite transparent dyes. And so you can make basically whatever color macro sparkle you want, which is kind of cool. I don't know what step we're on. Did I already do 4? I don't know. We may be doing 4 again. I think I did 3 last time. They're all white. Most of them. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of step 4 here. Pretty sure we did 3 last time. Man, that's looking shiny. Need to get some sunglasses. All right, step 5. Let's see how I did with my adding water to this stuff. See how it did. That's better. I think I could maybe even add 5 more. I think I'm going to add 5 more to that thing when I'm done with this half of the pen. So has anybody finished up their ornament for the ornament challenge yet? I'll have to be, I still haven't thought about that. I've been so busy trying to figure out this resin issue in the shop that I haven't had time to think about anything else. So I got to think about what I want to do for my ornament this year. I'm always blown away. There's when people are like, they're like, oh, I'm done. I already turned it in. I'm like, dang, I haven't even thought about what I'm making. I don't really like procrastinating, like super procrastinating. But I'm like, this thing isn't due until like November, like sometime. Maybe October, I forget what the date is, but it's a ways away still. It's too far away. Being too early with things, I don't like that either. All right, so that's pretty good. I think I'm going to use something else. Use my little yellow towel. Find a fresh spot and just give this a little bit of a buff. Get all that stuff off of there. But man, guys, woo! That is shiny. Look at that. Shaky cam. I think this is going to be a pretty cool looking pen. I love that macro sparkle in there. The one thing I would say about the white macro sparkle in this is it kind of diminishes the triple helix thing having a white component just a little bit. It's just that's not the forefront of this blank, I don't think. It's the swirls, the patterning overall. I think it'll come back when we get to the gold side of this. So it'll be kind of an interesting, I think it's going to be kind of interesting seeing how this entire pen turns out in the end, how it looks. Definitely happy with that. So I'm going to put this, let's see, cigar, that away. And of course, guys, I like to, not a huge deal, but I like to wipe off just in case, yeah, there's a little bit of polish that can get in there on the insides. I'm going to go put this over by the casting area so that it's ready to go. While I'm thinking about it also, I'm going to add the 5 drops to the number 5. Also getting set up with the pen press over there. I don't know if I have enough water in this thing. Now I do. Okay, so we're going to go 5 more drops. That should make it pretty liquid. And that, the other thing about it, this is pretty good how I had it, but I'm also kind of thinking about down the road, like it's going to just sit in the bottle for a while again. Do one more little drop. So I'd rather kind of get it more, a little bit on the thinner side because it's just going to evaporate again. Sitting in the shop. Give it a shake. Okay, we should be good to go. All right, final part. Second half of this cigar. So again, on this one we've got gold, and then at the very end there's bronze in there. So it should be kind of interesting. Get this thing kind of set up, get the lathe buddy hanging out of the way. Get you guys set up here. There we go. Ah, the macro sparkle, I'm telling you guys. There's all kinds of bling going on in this pen. I'll tell you that right now. That faux mold descent is part of it. Wait, let's see here. Got a plan. Lots of ideas, nice. That's fun. Yeah, those little faux burl molds. I only have one of them left. I need to get more silicone for those things. They're pretty fun. Oh, so the plan for the I see, for the ornament challenge. I see. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I can't wait to see what you make. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Just haven't had, things have been, this resin issue, when you're trying to make blanks, you've been doing something for like 15 years, and you're like, what is going on? Like nothing's working. It's exhausting kind of mentally. And things don't work out and you just kind of keep trying new different things and still getting the same, not what you want result. But I think things are going to be figured out here. And I think once the temperatures in the shop go down, I think I'm not going to have any problems at that point. carving this thing up here. Carving it like a turkey. Oh, you know what I did? I did it wrong. Shoot. I totally did that wrong, guys. Well, I put the big one on the wrong side. And now I can't switch it. I just realized. I don't think it's going to make a big difference, but it was supposed to be the other way. Luckily, we do have a little bit of gold. And since there's only a little bit of gold in the other thing, hopefully it'll work out, but I kind of screwed that up. Realistically, I would say I more than kind of screwed that up. I totally screwed that up. One thing that I didn't think of, excuse me, is the Starlight glitter is not going to polish. So I'm going to need to put a CA finish on it. The problem is I really kind of need to put a CA finish on both ends, both parts. Kind of a shame because I don't want to. I got that other side polished up real nice, but well, this will be kind of interesting. We're gonna not put a CA finish on the other side and kind of see how they compare. I'm gonna need those scissors. Yeah, well, I'm gonna cut up some more of these little microfiber cleaning cloth things real quick. Over here. But I am kind of excited because I've wanted to put a CA finish on something for a while now. I want to try a new to me CA finish out. So the Bob Smith Industries BSI, they came out with a finish for like doing this kind of stuff, for like pens and stuff, that I'm very excited about. That's gonna look pretty good, I think. It's kind of rushing this. After I realized I did it backwards, I was like, took a little bit of care out of it. It's like, All right, let's see. I'll have to do a little. There's just a little bit more. I was going a little bit faster than the other half. Let's see here. Recast it clear. Silicone, yeah, silicone is really expensive. That's why, you know, like the Gatling molds that I was making, they, you know, there's, other than like the shape or like the, you know, how long the blanks you can get out of it, because it would produce like a 6-inch blank or so, which I liked a little bit. It's a little bit overkill. I've actually, it's funny, I've actually started cutting mine because I switched all my blanks to 5, you know, on my website. I moved them all to like about a 5-inch length. I just didn't really see the advantage to a 5.5-inch blank. I started making them because I made, you know, taller molds. But I started actually cutting my Gatling molds because I don't need to make a 6-inch blank if I'm making a 5-inch. You know, if the final cut needs to be 5-inch. I do like having a little extra to cut off sometimes, but so I started just kind of cutting them, slicing them about a 1/2 inch shorter. But the problem with these molds is they're so expensive to make, and there's really no, again, unless you specifically need a few more inches of length and you really like that pattern, which I do like pouring into that thing. I like the pattern, but the amount of money it costs compared to like the P-Town Subby, you know, just the little 6-inch guys or six blank guys. I mean, they're so much cheaper and they do the same thing. So I just kind of done with the big silicone molds. Just don't really think selling them anyway. As long as the resin starts behaving, then I'm probably going to use the Beasts, the 12 blank ones. But when I'm not sure if a batch is going to turn out or not, I'm not pouring 12 blanks at a time. So I've been doing 6 or 7. Luckily, like I said, the new resin that I got from Turner's Warehouse, there hasn't been I don't think there's one batch that I was like, oh, that didn't work again. They all worked. There might have been one, so I'm trying to pour, there's a few blanks that I'm trying to, you know, team colors, like the yellow and black. I gotta be honest, guys, I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to make those in the liquid pigment. I may have to just make them out of mica powder, because that yellow and it's not, I don't like the look of them. I think I can probably get a better look in mica, but I don't really want to, but I think I might have to. Just go with that. Orange and black has been difficult, and actually the funny one is the Packers, the green, yellow, so that dark green, yellow, and white, that one's been really tough. So the only reason the new resin that I got, if the results didn't turn out exactly how I wanted them, it's just because it was a difficult mixture and it just didn't look as good as I wanted. But all the standard ones looked great. Lilia's here too. How's it going? The one thing that might get me back into like really hog wild doing my own molds, what I'd really like, and I know the simple solution is to just use PVC pipes, but what I'd really like is rather than 3/4 inch blanks, I want to make 13/16. I don't really want to make 7/8. That starts, I know we're talking 1/16 of inches, but I think that the 13/16 is going to be like, I like that better. If you need, the issue is, if you're going to be making a fatty custom pen, bespoke pen, kitless pen, whatever you want to call it, the one issue that I'm having with the team color blanks, and I would actually say it probably happens in like regardless of which ones you're doing, but if you leave it, if you're not taking much material off, the outside of the blanks doesn't get swirled up as much, and it can look not so great, basically. So I'd rather have more material to be able to take off than the 3/4 inch blanks. I don't know. I may redesign them, but the problem is to make a 13/16 mold, I'm going to have to actually machine. I can't just buy 13/16 like rods, plastic, things for the masters. And I don't want to just use PVC pipe things because they're not straight necessarily. Ooh. Whew, throat got dry. I had to get a drink. All right. What are we on? I think we're on the green. Are we on the green? I don't know what we're on. I think we're on green. Let's do green. Thirteen, 16 work with, yeah, it does. No, they go to, honestly, I just bought a 7/8, call it, or whatever it is, 22. So you can get 7/8. I have a 13/16. I don't know if you can see. Might have to zoom in and hold it, maybe. I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera. Is that showing up? Is it focusing on that? Is it even in the right spot? Oh, it's on the bottom, that's why. I don't know if you can see it. It's a 13/16. I literally just got the 7/8 yesterday. Because one of the things that I'm thinking about doing is, we'll have to kind of see, what I may end up doing is leaving the 5-inch blanks, the standard length, 3/4, and then just making my bespoke length blanks 13/16. So like if you're going to be doing a kit list, then you got the best option. I don't know if I'm going to be making, I don't know, I still don't think I'm going to be pouring 8-inch or the long team color versions. We'll have to see. I don't know. That stuff tends to want to kind of bleed a little bit more, and if you're dropping it from that kind of a distance, I don't know. I haven't really tried it. Right now I'm not offering it because I think that I'm going to I'm gonna have better luck not making really long ones. But for my other blanks, I don't know. I guess the other ones don't matter as much, but because I use a different stir method. You know, like I kind of stir up the mica blanks a lot more because they don't tend to really want to bleed much. Or if they do, they just don't look bad. If there is a little bit of like kind of bleeding together, micas just tend to be easier to work with. But we'll see, I don't know. The reason I went with 3/4 is because of what, you know, many people say, oh, ER32s only go up to 3/4. They think that, but if you go on Amazon, you can find, you know, the larger ones. But the problem was, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know that everybody's got a 3/4. How many people have a 13/16? Call it. That's why I was like, I want 3/4. But I don't know. I think that even if you don't have a 13/16, you can just put it between centers, take off a little material, and then put it in your 3/4. It's an extra step, but at the same time, I also know that you can just go buy a 13/16, so I don't feel as bad about that, you know. Shars? What's that? Yeah, the 7/8 is a big one. Yeah. I haven't tried it, and we'll see on the 7/8. The 13/16 works fine. I've had that for a while. And I've turned many, many things with that. In fact, most of my first, because when I first started pouring vertical, everything was done in a PVC pipe. I didn't have all the silicone molds and all that stuff. So, like all my earlier bespoke pens were made with, you know, using that thing. And I think I got that at Little Machine Shop, actually, online. I don't even think I got that one on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure that I've seen. I was looking at the 7/8 because I just recently bought the 7/8. And I think when I was looking for that, I actually saw 13/16 also on Amazon. Now, you know, the quality of these, like I don't know. I would imagine most of these things are all coming out of China. Little Machine Shop, I think, would probably be a more reputable source for anything machining than Amazon Random, you know. But I mean, it's a call it. Like, I don't know. Probably not that. Probably don't need to worry that much. All right, I got to go get a new paper towel roll, and then we will do some magic juicing. The juice is loose. Okay, so we got that done. We got our magic juice. Got a little square here. These things are working pretty good. I'm happy with these. They're pretty good. I already have a link to these. So in the description of this video, I've got a link, and just a reminder, I finally set up like the Amazon storefront things. For my like tools I use now, you know, many of the things that I use are from Turner's Warehouse. So, you know, like kits and, you know, things. But there are quite a few things that I buy on Amazon, and so people are always asking me, where did you get that? And I have links. I need to change this out on my website, but I have this like tools I use, these pages. But the person that I had set those up, that whole thing is just kind of a giant mess. So what I'm going to do is basically just put a link to those Amazon storefronts on one page on my website, and that'll be where you go. For the most part, I guess. There are, I'll have to think about it, but anyway, there's a link in the description to the Amazon storefronts, but one of them is for the polishing stuff that I use. Mainly, and it's mainly like these little things, because you can get the other stuff that, and magic juice you cannot get on Amazon, obviously. So I get my Zona and my magic juice from Turner's. But on Amazon, you can get Zona. I mean, if you have the choice, I would rather recommend you go to Turner's for that. But if you're like, I'm not going to Turner's, I'm going to Amazon, I do have a link to get the Zona paper from Amazon. Or, like that's in that storefront thing. As well as the 600 grit wet dry sandpaper that I use for the first step. And these little polishing pad things, and anything else that comes up that I might use will go in there. All right, so we got step 2. Let's move on to step 3. O02 T. What is TR? TIR. I don't know. What is char? What is that? Chars? I haven't heard of that one. Does chars have 13/16 and 7/8? Okay, so we got, where are we at? I can't even think, guys. Is that step 3? I think that was 3. We're going to go to 4 now. I think that was 4. 4 was open. We're going to 5. I think that was 4. I'm pretty sure that I closed all of them after I was done last time. So we're going to 5. Total indicator reading. TIR. All right, and then step 6. And we'll see how this thing goes. I'm a little bummed that oh, you know what, well, so hold on a minute. Totally, well, actually, the Starlight's looking fine. I was supposed to put a CA finish on this. But the Starlight's looking just fine to me. It's not like it's duller. A lot of times with, when you're doing the glitters, you kind of really need to put a finish on top because they kind of dull. You can't really polish that paper stuff that it's made out of. However, I kind of stand corrected, guys, because I just went through the entire magic juice thing, and this thing looks fine. So we'll do the CA finish on another one. I'm gonna get my little yellow thing out here real quick and just kind of, it just doesn't have any polish on it. All right, so here's the result. That thing's looking pretty good. It's kind of a half-half thing. Got a little bit of bronze and some gold. I think we'll be okay. The only issue is the way this is going to line up. It would be fabulous if this met up with the little gold spot. I have a feeling that's not going to work on the other half of this thing. Technically, this should meet up with the other blank, but it's not doing that. I screwed up. So, oh well. Can't win them all. It's still going to look good, I think. Okay, so pop that thing off. Whoa, oh, almost dropped my bushing. Yeah, so look at that. I mean, it's glossy. Even the starlight glitter areas. Let me look at it under. Yeah, it's fine. Because it's not, so the one thing is the more densely packed glitter becomes, the more you're really going to have to put a CA finish over top. But there's enough, it's just not that big of a deal, depending on how much you put in there, but that's looking pretty good. All right, so let's go over and let's put some pendants together. Okay. Casting view. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Got that there. Okay, so, oh my goodness. It actually matches up perfectly. You gotta be kidding me. I'm almost certain that this was supposed to be like this. Wow. Because I want to match up the lines, right? I mean, I almost wonder if that was actually how the blank was. I mean, that lines up perfect. That's crazy. Okay, let's do this. So we got our, we're going to go with the Element kit. This is the brass Element. Let's see, I like to do it this way, so I know. Is that right? Yeah. There. And goes there. Ink. Okay, I like to lay out all my parts, get things set up. There. And there. Okay. Let's do this. Start with this guy. Oh, using the right bushings works great, guys. Oh, this isn't the kit. Never mind. Sorry. Those bushings were all right. We'll have to wait and see how the other one turns out. Get in there. Our pirate. Okay. Okay, that's working good. This guy next. Boom. There we go. Okay, so this is gonna go like that. That's how that's gonna go. Now, where do we want this thing? What do I like best here? The nice thing about cigar kits is you can always change your mind. Let's see. It's gonna be like that. I think I kind of like this. I think we're going to do it like this and kind of show off that little stripe where it connects. I kind of like that. Hammer that thing down, and then just got to get this thing kind of lined up here. I think it's like that. Pretty close. What do you guys think of that? Kind of wish that I would have cut this where there was more. This really feels like two different blanks. So I kind of wish that I would have maybe cut it, you know, the way it was supposed to be. I don't know. We would have missed out on the bronze probably or something. I don't know. But it's pretty cool looking. I like it. I guess it goes like this. Yeah, I really love that macro sparkles looking good. I really love that. I don't know. I actually kind of like this better. The clip maybe could go there. I don't know. So we got that one. Now let's see if my bushings that are the right, sort of the right size. They're still a little bit off, I think. That's why I stopped using them. Let's see here. So we got not a whole lot of the turquoise is in this piece. Let's see. I think I kind of like. Ooh, I like that, I think. Okay, we're going to do that. Hammer that home. There we go. Still maybe a little. Like I said, those bushings that I have are still a little bit off, but that's not bad. Let's see how this side goes. This thing, there we go. Take that off. There we go. Nice. Like I said, I think those bushings are still a hair too thin. So I can't wait to get my new ones, but oops. Definitely better than the other one was. That thing didn't feel good at all. Okay, put our ink in here. Boom. What do you guys think of that one? That one's fun, kind of Christmassy. Or something, I don't know. Pretty fun. Mike Taylor's here, what's up? Total included run out. Well, that sounds too precise for me. That'll make me look bad. I have to have some excuse for why things aren't perfect. So if I get 0.0000 to total, what did you say? Total included run out, man. It's all going to be on my shoulders as to why everything doesn't work out. Gotta have an excuse, right? Oh, man. Before I forget, I just want to put these things in the cigar tubes bag. All right, so like I said before, one of each of these. Well, no, hold on a minute. Let me just go back. One of those will be in your pen blank if you're a pen blank club folk, or this one. This is I made my own third batch. These ones are kind of fun. I wanted to get, we did so much blinging that I wanted to get a little penny copper, and so I was like, oh, kind of, I don't know, kind of went for that like shipwreck look kind of thing. I don't know, that's kind of what I had in my mind. I think that the copper, penny copper with the macaw blue green, I think that was going to go well, and then I just kind of put some sort of a bluish weird mixture in there. So one of these, you'll get one of these, and then the other blank is going to be one of the what am I thinking of? The fun funnel blanks. So that's what you have. Look, and they're already shipped out. I shipped out the last batch of them on Friday. So if you're in the pen blank club, your pen blanks should be showing up pretty soon here. And then the other little quick announcement is the new Rockies blanks are in stock and ready to rock. I love this blank. I really like this blank a lot. Purple, silver, and this is with the Jungan. So you got like mica pop, silver, which I think is awesome. Like if you're a Rockies fan, I think this blank like nails it. Like it's really good for the Rockies. Because like when you look at the hat, that's kind of the type of silver that it is that lines the CR. So anyway, and obviously black's simple. Now these are on sale through Tuesday, I want to say is when it ends. Did I close that? No. On sale through Tuesday at I think midnight. Yeah, Tuesday at midnight. Here's a link that should apply the discount. Did that work? There it is. When you click it, but if you don't, if that for some reason, make sure before you check out, that should save you 15%. If it doesn't, if it didn't apply it for some reason, the code is Rockies. But that link should apply that automatically. So Rockies blanks are available. And then what was the other thing that I shared? Something else. Oh, I'm going to drop a link to the Element series pen kits on Turner's Warehouse. That was one of the other things. So there's that. And the last thing is, again, there's a link in the description of this video. I have new Amazon, like the Amazon storefront things for 3D printing. That's going to be a really good one because I pretty much get all my 3D printing stuff from Amazon. So if you want to do the resin thing, I got a link to both of the machines I use, the resin I use, all the little implements and doohickeys, the washing machine and all that stuff that I use. So that one's a really good one if you want to get into resin printing. It's got everything pretty much that I use. And then I've got one that's like sanding and polishing. That'll be in the description as well. That has those little, if you want to try those little microfiber things that I was using today, link is in there. And then I've got another one for resin casting tools and supplies. Now again, I get, like my resin and many of the things I get at Turner's Warehouse. I get molds from Jake. I get, resin from Alumilite. I'm trying to think if there's any other sources for like resin casting stuff. I mean, pretty much I get most of my stuff from Turner's Warehouse. Sometimes I buy directly from Eye Candy if Turner's doesn't have the thing that I want, but I get most of my micas from Turner's. So that's separate, but anything that I use that I get from Amazon, which there's quite a few things that I use, and I need to keep adding things. If you think of something that you see, remind me so I can go and add that to the lists. But there's also a resin casting one that's got like mixing cups and stir sticks and, you know, like those types of things, like little random implements. The scale that I use, I get from Amazon. Got a couple options for scales, actually. I've got... I don't have the one that I use because I think that, well, at this point, this model is not even, I wouldn't even pay for that at this point. The one, there's a really good one from American Weigh Scales. I don't have, that I relied on for a long time, but I was having some weird issues. What I realized is it has to do with, it's like a static electricity issue. It's getting weird issues, but it's this one. This is my favorite. I really liked this one. It's reasonably cheap. It's okay. It's not like $10, but I think I want to say it's like 30. But the beauty of this thing is it is a plug-in model. Okay, I cannot stand battery operated ones because I've had it where I walked away or it took me too long to do something and I lost the number. Like they shut off after a while and I hate that. So I really like the plug-in ones typically. And then the beauty of this thing is it goes down to 0.1 grams, but it also goes up to 3,000 grams. Like that's hard to find, that big of a range. Usually if it's like a 0.1, it only goes to like 500 grams. And, you know, if you're pouring quite a big pour. So this is one of the ones that's available. And then there's also, if you don't care about the plug, okay? If you don't care about the plug and you want like the cheapest thing on the planet, these little guys, they're like $10 and they are pretty much awesome. This one that I have right here, this goes down to 0.01, so whatever that is, the hundredths, I guess. And I needed this for when I was doing all the dye mixtures and all that stuff. And this thing is super, I literally have a $300 scale that goes to hundredths. This is as accurate as that stupid thing. So, and it was $10 and it's much simpler, but it's just a battery, right? So eventually the battery is going to die. And on that day, you're going to probably mess up your resin thing possibly. And then it shuts off after like 5 minutes or something. So, but they have all kinds of different ones. They've got a 0.01, a 0.1, a 1 gram that will go even higher. So I've got both of those listed. And I think they're both the 10th grams. So those are listed in the Amazon and all kinds of good stuff. But that's in the description of the video. So I just want to let you guys know what's going on. Your cousin played for the Colorado minor league team? That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I should have. I did. I thought I ordered from you. Actually, thought I got a receipt too. I will double check, and if I don't see it, I'll shoot you a message, Brian. But I did. I went through, and I don't know, unless I totally brain farted and didn't like check out at the end. Actually, I'm pretty sure that it went through PayPal and all that stuff though, or something. So let me double check on that, and I'll let you know. Or I will just actually place the order correctly if I find out that I don't have an order with you. So anyway, cool. I think that's about it, guys. I can't think of anything else. I'm not sure what we're going to do next week. I do need to think about the ornament. I don't think that's happening next week because it's going to take me even longer to think about than 1 week probably. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys had a enjoyable time watching these pens come together. I really love the triple helix things. There's so many things that you can do with them. They just add, you know, something like, I don't know, you don't see that in a lot of pen blanks. Like it's hard to get that kind of thing, and that's why the 3D prints are so cool. So don't forget, guys, also Turner's Warehouse is selling the blanks for like the puppy paws and all that. They have all those different ones that they came out with. They're blanks. But they're the same kind of idea where like you get things in the blank that you just couldn't otherwise get. So I think that's about it, guys. It's time for lunch for me. So anyway, I hope you have a great rest of the evening. Get out in the shop, do something fun. Don't forget I don't know what the date is for the ornament challenge. I think it's in early November. Just make sure that you're thinking about that. Get that thing ready, because the deadline, like your ornament, it's not like you have to like ship it by that date. Like they have to have it in their hands by that deadline. So just make sure you get that thing done if you're going to do the ornament challenge with Turner's Warehouse. It's always fun, and there's always prizes, and then they do the auctions, and that's fun. And this year's really cool because they're just, everything's got a minimum on it, which I think is a great idea. That's the way it should be. It's a charity event. That way everybody, even on your 13th ornament that you sent in and you didn't really pay a lot of attention to what it was, it'll still generate some money. So that's good. So anyway, guys, I think that's about it. So I will see you guys all on the next stream, and we'll do a little bit of resin casting. So have a great night, and I'll see you next week.